Then lastly, right, after I've accomplished steps 1 through 4, I want to clear my tracks. I want to do everything I can to prevent the system owners knowing that I was there. Now, there are many ways to clear your tracks. This is where your knowledge and understanding of systems and system services and kind of where persistent data is held versus volatile data is held, and how can I get rid of some of this stuff. It can be as simple as just clearing caches and cookies, right? However, all that's going to do is clear what happened then, right? It kind of leaves indication of what I was doing in those caches. So you're going to have to go another step farther, right? And this goes into clearing log files, scrubbing log files. You may not be able to delete, for instance, the entire audit log, but being able to delete beginning and end, right, of timeframes of where you are actually performing activities, because if an entire audit log goes missing, it makes much more noise than if a portion of an audit log goes missing, right? So again, you want to try to hide that you were there as much and as well as you possibly can. Whatever ports that I use to get in, I want to close down those ports, especially if there are ports that I had to open as I hopped from target to target across the infrastructure. If I had to open it, it means it's not normal, for instance, or may not be normal for those ports to be open. So I want to make sure to close them down as I step backwards out of the network. Doing a hard delete, right? Just shutting down your access to the network and walking away is the quickest and fastest way to let someone know that you were there, and not only that you were there, everything you did along the way. So this again is where attention to detail really comes into play. Not letting them follow breadcrumbs as best you can. Now, there's going to be remnants, because when you sever that final connection, there's going to be an entry there that you're not going to be able to get to because you've severed it. But if you've cleared enough or scrubbed enough on the way back out, all they would ultimately see, right, if you did it well and if you pre-planned enough, is that a connection was made and then a connection was dropped. And then what happened in between should be kind of a garbled mess, if you will. So there's a reason, right? There's often, depending on what industry you work in, what have you, there are setting requirements, right? Hardening requirements that indicate that the audit logs should be offloaded in real time to a system that is not the same as the system being audited. So even as I'm clearing my tracks coming out, those audit logs are actively being dumped to another system that I probably do not have access to, that I can't scrub those logs from. So even though the systems that I touched on the way in, I was diligent on stepping back out and scrubbing logs and everything else, there should be a complete record and not an inline system, but a sidecar system that is collecting those audit logs, that you'll be able to piece back together what I had done. Okay. Any questions over anything to this point? Okay. All right. So that's the basic mechanics, right, of of ethical hacking, right? It sounds and looks on the Hollywood screen a lot sexier than it really is. But once you really get into it and get into the details of it and different techniques of how to do certain things and run certain exploits and use the myriad of tools that we have, it's a field that is just, well, I consider extremely exciting, right? Because you can't know it all, right? So there's always something more to learn, and there's always a better way to put the puzzle together, if you will, right? Which sounds weird, right? Because puzzles are only supposed to go together one way. However, what you will find the deeper you get into this field of study, right? Cybersecurity in general, more, or specifically ethical hacking and pen testing and things like that, that while the puzzle goes together only one way, there are different ways to put it together, right? Some people put jigsaw puzzles together from the border, right, first, and then work themselves in. Some people put parts of a puzzle together at a time. Like, I'm going to put these clouds together, I'm going to put this mountain together, and I'll put this stream together, and then it will all come together. I've seen people do jigsaw puzzles from the inside out, right? So even though there's only one puzzle, there's many ways to get the puzzle complete. And I think that that's really what I love most about this field, particularly. Now, unfortunately, because I'm a victim kind of my own success. So the better I got, the farther away from the keyboard I kept getting promoted, right? I wasn't the one on the keyboard anymore. I was managing a team that were on the keyboard, and then I'm managing multiple teams of them on the keyboard. So my team doesn't let me play on the keyboard very, very often anymore. They say I make a mess of everything, but I'd say that's up for debate. Maybe I'm just not doing it the way they want me to do it.